Hello again, all of you wonderful beings out there, and welcome back to the stream. I am Razim, and this is DevTales, where we're going through our SCAR system, or Stories and Creatures in Alternate Realities. The system is available for open playtest on our Discord as well as itch.io, so go take a look at it, let us know what you think. For now, though, we also have Wicked Whiskers down there in the bottom left working on art, and Placid Plastic Duck Simulator in the upper left for ducks. Alright, so next up on our discussion list. Have we had any thoughts about how to redo initiative? You know, combat initiative. Because that has been a, it doesn't work.
Constant thorn.
Yeah, constant thorn.
Are we talking about the primeval feature or
Combat initiative, like
When we're going into combat and rolling initiative.
because of all the tie break stuff that happens. Basically, this is how are we going to handle? Is there a better way to handle tie breaking? Because when you start getting into multi-way ties, it starts getting complicated and drawn out.
And considering most people probably have roughly the same amount of dots in it.
We have seen many, many ties, and sometimes, you know, one person, you know, they tie, and then somebody else that is just one above has to be moved up further, and it gets... It is a very drawn-out process.
First of all, I think we should get rid of the whole bumping up initiative. Because that's like one of the main issues that we have.
Well, we can't do that without figuring out what we're doing about ties.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, no matter what, we need to get rid of that because that's the biggest problem thing.
Do we want to just make it by way of a... Go ahead.
Go ahead with what you were saying.
I was going to say, in the event of a tie, do you want to just make it a D10 plus the amount of dots? Just to make it real quick. And put that as a dot. So if 3 people get 17, all 3 of them roll a D10 plus the number of dots they have in initiative, and it becomes 17.12, 17.6, 17.2, or whatever.
Well, the problem with that is that if you put 17.12, that'll go beneath the others on the combat tracker.
Oh, that's true.
And most combat trackers don't support decimals.
I guess. So, do we want to tune our current system, or do we want to overhaul?
My best thought is we're going to need to find a way to overhaul. Because I don't know how we can tune it and, you know, keep it going with this just... It's not working.
All right. Do you have additional problems with it besides the tie break bump up time cost that's been and confusion that's been going on?
I mean, I personally am okay with the system as is. Like, yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but this is more of the players and storytellers have been saying that this doesn't work. for me, it's whatever. I'm not
Alright.
that against it, but our
In that case, all the
playtesters are
complaints I've
against
heard-
it.
Yeah, so all the complaints that I've heard, and all of that is relating to the tie break, bump up, this goes here, that goes there nonsense at the start of things.
Same.
The actual system we have, where it's face value and the interactions we have with that seems to be working just fine.
Yeah, but tiebreakers are the problem. How do we solve those?
Well, yeah, I'm just making sure that we're agreeing what the problem is before we start discussing a bunch of stuff to make sure we're all on the same page. So, for things that we can do, we can start looking into having actual ranks in initiative helping work as an initial tiebreaker, because that'd be pretty fast. One person goes, "Oh, I have 3 ranks," another one goes, "Oh, I have 2 ranks." The 3-rank person will go before generally. We could also implement rules that say, for instance, player and player allied characters win tie breaks. Because that would speed things up a lot. And if players are, the tying, then they can just kind of decide who goes first, or otherwise then start to roll off. We can implement things that go and basically do the decimal thing, not with what they rolled, but just of just to make someone go higher on the initiative tracker.
But one of the limits there is most virtual tabletops don't allow decimals in. Like, in person, it's not a problem, but I do want to consider virtual tabletops because that's how the majority of players play these days.
I know that Fantasy Grounds allow it. I'm pretty sure that Foundry allows it.
Roll20 does allow it.
I recall that we're us having issues with that, but hey, if they allow it, then we'll just do that.
Our issues with it specifically was because we made it so that way the rules were specifically that you would write down what you rolled. And so when someone rolled a 10, they would try and write a 10 and it would go to 0.1, and it made it slightly messy.
So going to dots first and then into a roll.
Yeah, so basically we can basically make a small little flowchart thing where I don't know if we want to also add in the players winning ties set, but there is always the going by ranks first. So if someone just has a higher rank in initiative, this also allows for shenaniganry with specialties if people really want to win initiative tiebreaks.
And feats.
Or they're in a situation where their specialties apply as well, extra. Then there's always roll-offs, as well as players also just getting to decide if one person wants to go first. So how are we feeling about those kinds of options?
Dots first would be system common to be the easiest way to be the first thing to check who has more dots. With any relevant specialties and or feats.
Yeah, alright, we'll go with that. And it'll just be initiative score 0.1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Instead of trying to do a, they rolled a 9 on their tiebreaker, so 0.9.
Yep. Also, double checking Foundry does also allow for decimal point initiatives.
Okay, then.
And even include it automatically in some systems because of, dexterity tie breaks. So the V2T part of it isn't a problem. But yeah, going dots first as a tiebreak is probably the correct choice. And just sticking with the decimals.
Alright, we'll go that route then. I will make that note. Okay, so that's that taken care of. Next thing, percentage for conditions. Is it roll once and whatever would happen from the result happens, or is it roll for each condition? So say, you got 10% chance of triggering paralysis, 20% chance for blight, 30% chance for charm. If you roll 30, then, do you roll once and it's just, you roll, you get 20, so that means that blight and charm go off, or do they roll for each individual one, so they have to do 3 rolls there?
I was thinking it was 1, and whatever procs, and whatever doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I don't remember what this came up from, because we kind of dedicated the last 2 sessions to magic, and that was before all that, so... But it was a question that came up.
It was in the most recent Last Hope session when there was the... Kenku was having Shale use the pocket sand thing for the 10%, as well as having a natural, other effect that was also a % chance.
That's right. Okay.
But yeah, it should just be roll once because there really isn't a difference.
This discussion here just says negative traits such as indiscriminate.
That was for negative traits on things like moves, weapons, and all that. With indiscriminate basically being you can't select who does and does not get affected. It's an indiscriminate thing.
Okay, so
you told me to make a note of that when I brought that up. It was basically when we were discussing a while ago about how we still desperately really need more negative effects for discounts that are interesting, but people would actually use. Because currently speaking, in terms of like negative things that you can put on moves. We have obviously negative stat changes. There is the applying conditions to selves. There's gain exhaustion, lose health, and there is it takes an additional standard action. There's a couple other things such as remove condition and remove stat change that have wonky negative effects, but we don't really have many generalized negative effects that people can put on their moves for discounts.
Well, that's just a matter of we need to figure things out. Come up with stuff.
But that's why that was there, was because it was a discussion about negative traits that we could think of. So I don't know if we want to bother with that right now, or if we want to do that for, next update stuff.
Let's do that next update, because we still have a lot to get through tonight.
Yep.
Next discussion. Do we want to allow any ranged move to be made melee at will? Because technically right now you can do that, because you can just ignore a trait on any move and such.
I personally say no, because then there's no reason not to put range on everything.
That was also what I was thinking.
Which takes out a huge attack of opportunity and tactical thing out of the game entirely.
Yeah, like if I can make a character that has all of their moves with a ranged option, I can just turn that off at any moment. There's no reason for me to make a dedicated melee move.
All right. So then that leads into another thing that I wanted to discuss. It ties into a thing with the magic. Collapse that. The Feats proposal list had one in particular. The Downcast.
Probably the Downcast one.
Yep.
I will point out, I realized this yesterday or the day before when I was actually going through and typing things out for all of this. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been actually typing out the mechanics. I'm going to still point them to the document for the actual words themselves for now, but I wanted to type out all of the mechanics on the main doc.
Yep.
Also, right here where action costs was unfinished, that's because Rex tried to kill me last night.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so the usual evening activities happen. Got it.
Well, it was 5 a.m. He was going to bed. I was deep in hyper focus. I had special music going, the binaural or I'm so chronic, whatever the hell it is. The special beat thing that's supposed to help you focus. Well, it does seem to be doing that for me. I was deep in hyper focus on it. And next thing I know, I suddenly have hands going around my neck. Damn near gave me a fucking heart attack. And after that, it was like, yep, I am not getting back into focus tonight. But either way, the original proposal, right here, it did all originally have that traits or words can be downcasted for a lower mana cost or to keep within bounds, such as power cap. So for me, I feel like that should just automatically be a thing across the board. I am okay with ranged moves having to stay ranged, but I think basically every other trait or word or whatever can just be downgraded. Like, yeah, you may have a move that normally would have 12 power on it, but if you want to use it with just 1 power for whatever reason, why not?
Without changing its action economy, correct?
Well, yeah, without changing that, yeah. So,
Tell did comment
that
on
front,
your,
you've
on
got
your
the-
thing.
Yeah, like I said, I was gonna. I wrote out things for all of them yesterday.
Yeah. His response was, I did intend for this to be a feat from the beginning. I guess I'm fine if it's a natural aspect of magic. But I do think it's a good feat option. I'll just highlight it so you can find it quickly.
just put your cursor on it and I can click on your icon.
Yeah, that's
There we go.
already there.
Cool. Yeah. It might be a good feat option, but I don't think we need it to be a feat option. Especially because it's like, okay, you're spending... You are spending 25 XP to make yourself weaker when you want to be. Why?
Saving motes.
It gives you a shit ton of flexibility as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it would make a good feat option. It'd definitely be worth being a feat, but if you want it to be like a base part of the system, I mean, it's fine.
I would say so. We've run into enough situations in this system already, as well as others, where they're just like, can I just purposely fail or roll minimum on this?
So we're in agreement it's going away?
I am.
Yeah, sure.
Gone.
I did also add one more feat on this list that came to me while I was working last night. Ah, I see,
saw
Era,
that,
you
did
saw
you?
that.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now, with my understanding of how the magic mechanics were written out, it is an all or nothing.
It wasn't that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just verifying first.
Yeah. So, my thought is you have this feat, and then you can, if you do fail your concentration check, but you're concentrating on more than one spell, you can maintain concentration on one of the spells.
Is this a feat that you can take multiple times or just a one-off?
I'd say one off. I don't think we should let them have this more than once, because what would be the point in you know?
Yeah.
I kind of
slightly
anticipate
concerned
maybe
about a mass
two.
casting with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're picking up a feat so that way you can mass cast safely, you know. I guess
Yeah.
a lot more safely.
Well, considering how quickly a mass could burn you.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with it elsewise. I just wanted to
Yeah,
make
I mean,
sure.
it's fine, yeah.
Alright.
By the way, Zip, do you want it to, like, all the page breaks to be in there?
I do like those, yes.
When you're scrolling through? Okay.
I know they're not always... Like, on this one, I know it's not useful, but, like, especially with the main dock, I do like to have that. Because it lets me consider, like, how things are breaking between pages.
Yeah.
And
Well, because
it
I
also-
was just asking because on side docs it's not very...
Yeah, side docks, it's not very useful, but I'm okay with it. I do know how to do away with it. I'm okay with this.
I can fix the page breaks after the feats are all approved and we're done with the list.
Well, the page break thing, you're also able to just turn it off. And make
Yeah.
it so it doesn't... Well, it shows you where the page break is. It just doesn't
actually break the page.
Yeah.
I like this. It's fine.
Yeah. I just wanted to check because sometimes the page breaking.
Anyways, once we go through this, we're going to be removing 3, 4, 5 lines from each feed, so it'll be easier to clean up afterwards.
Yep.
And one thing that I like about the page breaks is sometimes when I just look at this and it's just text, it's like, that's overwhelming things. Sensory overload kind of thing. So the page breaks help with that. But that is an entirely unrelated thing.
Yeah.
Alright. Let me make notes about what we were just discussing. Traits and downcasting. Anything. I think for the general rules, I'll put in that except for certain traits. And that's just for if we want to put in exceptions, so I'll probably put in the range traits that once this is added, the move is always considered ranged.
Yeah, we can say that it's kind of treated similar to a category. Because by all accounts, we do kind of treat it like a category as well when it comes to things like defensive specialties, for instance. You're able to choose melee or ranged. You could have, like, an evasion thing for ranged attacks against you.
Yeah.
So it's like we already treat them like, their own kind of category, so it makes sense if, it's a category.
Yeah, I like that idea. Even like basically put in there, even if the trait is ignored, it still makes the move or spell or whatnot ranged. Okay, so there's that. We'll come back to that one. This next one just says discussion natural defense. Did I add that? I don't usually add things with just that little information.
That one was probably a quick one that got added. Yeah, it happened a few months ago.
I think we'll just remove
August. I do know what it was about.
Oh, well then, by all means.
Because we were talking about how natural defense doesn't exactly have the sorts of options that the artificial defenses have for things like thorn effects, spike effects, those kinds of things.
Oh, so traits for natural defense. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking because we wanted to have a discussion about expanding out the available natural defense traits, which we can kind of just table, but I guess we can put.
Real quick, whoever is highlighting in the magic doc, please highlight based on by the main document. If it's approved, do green. Yellow is it's approved but needs to be reworded. So in that case, make that orange, because that is not approved, not available, just still work in progress.
Is that orange? Remember, I'm color.
Yes,
blind.
that is.
Yeah. Okay.
Remember, you can hover over them.
I'm trying to.
Pops up.
I'm just trying to highlight the ones that we need to discuss. So.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Fair. Yeah, if
Just
we're
that way
all
we
in
can touch them
agreement,
quickly.
like unshaken mind there, I'm good with just making that green.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go back and make it green here in a moment.
I got it.
Is that pink or is that green?
I put more
School
words on it, so now it says
specialization is
natural.
pink. Remember, when you're going to highlight, if you hover over the option, it'll pop up with a thing saying what color it is. Like text saying it.
Oh, so it does.
Yeah. Did you not
I'm
know
sorry, I'm used to looking at hex values, so.
Alright. I definitely want to give natural defense traits, like the armor traits. I think that's something that we're gonna back burner for now and circle back to.
Especially because I still have to go back and finish weapons, armor, shields.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to be expanding out move trades. Yeah.
Discussion. New ability where they can attempt to push exhaustion onto an enemy would require opposed checks, but if they fail, they wind up taking one of the enemy's exhaustion. I think that was intended to be a... I think that was intended to be a trait for moves.
No.
But could also be a word for magic or something.
That is a very, very, very dangerous ability.
I mean, I'm good with just, saying no to it.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be healthy.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna agree with Tal. We don't need full-on battles.
Well,
All
instead
right.
of fwam, it'd be more fwoosh because you're like pushing it to the enemy.
Foosh and fwaming all over the place. Just the fwam
Yeah.
words again.
Yeah.
We already discussed action cost for magic. So this next one was something that I got inspired by with a short. Instead of attacks of opportunity, we rebranded to action of opportunity. Still AOO. But instead of only being able to, attack enemies when they leave your threatened range, what if your ally is moving past you and you slap them on the butt and give them a little heal on the way?
I mean, I feel like
That sounds like a
that's a
feat.
valid use of reactions already, isn't it?
Technically,
Because you're able to use reactions for things like, trying to help allies.
let me double check the wording on it, but I don't think that's technically a thing right now.
My friend just crossed my space. AOO, butt slap.
Yeah, butt slap with the heel.
Because you can use assist with a reaction. Which I guess doesn't allow everything.
Either way, like I said, I say we just rebrand it to action of opportunity. I see we've got Kenku liking this idea.
I was about to make the joke. He just wants to touch butts.
Well, the slap on the butt was on the, personal just saying it, but,
I don't know, maybe
Okay,
maybe Shale and Ron kind of, want to be playful at times.
Neither of them are
if you wanna touch
healers. Actually, who is the healer in the...
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, God, no.
Why did Bobby's Got a Gun just start playing in my head?
Yes, Blue Bat, you could take, with this idea, you could take any action you want. It would have to be a standard action. It would cost you a reaction. But it would be just like an attack of opportunity, you know?
It uses your reaction for the turn.
Yeah, it uses your reaction, but it's like, hey, allies running past, here, have a speed buff. Here, have a heal. Here, have a... I don't know what you're throwing on them, but you can throw whatever.
It is an interesting use of the reaction. So I'm not against it. I'm wondering how it's going to mess with the action economy, though, to a degree.
I will say it would still need to fulfill the other requirements of, you know, an AOO. So they would have to move through a threatened square of yours. But
I guess it would also allow you to do something like if someone is about to provoke an AOO by like shooting you in melee, and you happen to have a preventative heal move or something, you could throw it up on yourself. The only thing I'm worried about is, I guess it is still fine because they're expensive effects. I was thinking about positive conditions getting chucked around with this, but also, that means they have to have it. So,
yeah, they have to have it to use it, but it's still and it costs a reaction, but if you're skilled enough to, reach out and smack an enemy as they're moving away from you, why can't you be skilled enough to just throw a heal on them? Throw a buff on an ally,
Yep.
Why does attack of opportunity always have to be an attack?
Because you live for violence.
Correct.
I will say, Kenku, you wouldn't be able to do a self buff with that. You can't really trigger an AOO on yourself.
Well, you kind of can if someone like.
We are going to just say no. Before you go trying to justify it, no, you are not triggering.
I can reach out and poke someone else with it. Why can't I apply it to myself?
All right. Double team.
Fusion, huh?
All right, but anyway, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the rebrand.
All right. So, next one that I kind of had a inspiration for, repeat specialties, and whether they should get a discounted price. So basically, like in the case of Furvis, if he wanted to pick up both a specialty of craft droids and technology droids, they do have some differences on how that would work. Could he get a discount if he purchased, the second one? It's still droid related, but instead it's just a slightly different skill that it's tied to. We would put in the note that it would have to be, actually relevant, so you can't, have perception hearing and then get a discount on medicine hearing. Because those are very different specialties, but if it's similar enough, then we can put it, it's more of just put a little note in of, should we kind of encourage storytellers to allow that discount?
I think we should. We could also brand it as something like expanding specialties or something.
I like that.
Because if it's the same specialty, but it's just applying to a different skill, that's like, valid and, relevant, then in that case, it should probably be really cheap to get that specialty, actually.
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking like 5 XP for that if you already have a valid specialty and you're just copying it over to a different skill.
Because they're already, you can already use craft droid for a technology role involving droids, so why not?
Yeah, it's just like, guaranteeing that you get to use it.
Any thoughts from you there, Era?
I'm fine with it. I was just looking at Thales' character sheet really quickly because I'm like, oh, that would apply to Thales then. I'm fine with it. It seems sensical enough. He's a metaphysician. He has more esoterica.
That nonsense. Words I had never heard of before, and I've got quite the expansive vocabulary.
Is it bad that the moment Era started talking about those, I instantly knew what each of those did?
I think it's just a skill issue on Zim's part.
I am your
surprised you haven't heard of
storyteller,
it.
and I will be vengeful. I will find a way to trap you in an area with Nova.
I can get myself out of that situation real quick.
Hey, look, all I'm saying is if you start doing... a little bit of cricketing. Nice. All I'm saying is, even if you kill Nova, I'll just play Hyperion next.
And if you kill Narashi, my backup character is a himbo.
Yeah. So, me and Viv will just trade places.
Alright, we already went through the Minion Master Primeval feature. Something that came up last night during Pyro's whole training thing. Do we want to put in a note that all teleportation effects the storyteller can basically apply a percentage discount on the purchase price if there is a restriction on the teleportation, such as you can only teleport to shadows. I don't have any other examples that come to mind for what restrictions there might be out there, but basically,
Waypoints.
There's one that exists in the feats already with the tracing the constellations. You can only teleport next to people.
True. There's that one.
You can only teleport to places your feet have actually touched the ground.
But whatever restriction the player may want to put in, or storyteller for that matter, I'm thinking that we put in, a note box or rules box of, hey, can your player only teleport to shadows? Then they get you can give them a 50% discount on purchasing teleportation stuff, which would just apply to all teleportation effects. So, teleshift, blink, teleport, etc., etc.
I mean, I think we should probably just put in a note box about that for things in general. Like, for putting restrictions on abilities that your character has in order to get discounts.
True.
Like, that was already kind of a thing that we, semi put in, but we didn't, officiate it. The hard part would just be coming up with discrete, hard XP, percentage discount amounts for things. But we should probably... We could put in a classification for light, medium, and heavy restriction.
What I was thinking is just fully leave it up to the storyteller. And, because, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. For example, if you can only teleport to shadows, but you're playing in, say, Minecraft's Nether, where the entire place just always has light, you're never going to be able to teleport. So we'll just put in explaining, hey, you should give a percentage-based discount depending on how limiting this will make them able to use it. If they could only use it 50% of the time, give them a 50% discount. That sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm not fine with that. I was just also saying that, like, maybe we want to, without, like, actually, like, defining it, just put in, like, consider if this would be considered a light, medium, or heavy restriction.
I worry with quantifying this kind of thing, unfortunately, that this would be one of the things that the player would give players ammo to argue with the GM.
Yeah, which is why I just say, like, the storyteller should consider what kind of restriction this is when giving a discount, but not give, like, actual numbers. Because at the end of the day, even if you're putting restrictions on yourself, like, let's say on teleportation, you get, like, a 20 XP discount on things like total, you're still feeling pretty decent about it because, that you just got yourself almost a feat's worth of discount.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should really quantify this, because the moment we quantify it, it's something that, now gets to be debated over. But if we just put in, like, some light advice about, how depending on how restrictive it should be, you should consider that when determining the discount.
All right.
So we're all in agreement there.
I'll just copy that over there. So that way, there we go. And leave it here. Now for another thing that I came up with last night. We've got a lot of teleportation effects, but we have nothing to counter that. So I'm proposing a teleportation detection feat for detecting teleportation attempts and allowing AOO. With the available ease of teleportation effects, a counter would be good. So basically my idea here is it's a feat that you can pick up, and if somebody's about to teleport, you're able to get an AOO. If they, just like, obviously it would be if they're within 5 feet of you, because that's where they would trigger the AOO, but we put in if they would trigger an AOO from movement, but they are teleporting, then you would be able to AOO them.
That's fine. I mean, I know we kind of moved away from it, but we did legitimately intend for teleportation effects to cause an AOO originally, and we debated on it a lot, which is extra funny because in the feat section for the porter section, which I still think it's weird that it's named after a job where you just move items around, but it was like even the quick port thing where porters can perform a short range port as a single action provokes AOO.
Yeah.
Like, we even left in things, technically speaking, that causes it to provoke AOO, and we removed it from other things, and it's all over the place.
The porter stuff is not valid right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like.
But right now with current rules, the only rules that I'm aware of on this are in the special movements section of Chapter 5. Because I put all of the rules regarding teleportation there, considering how many different ones there are. But it does say, no forms of teleportation movement provoke an attack of opportunity.
In melee reach, it says that if you move from melee reach, even with a teleportation effect, you still provoke attack of opportunity.
Where?
If you go into the trait explanations for reach, here, I'll go and click on it real quick. Oh, where the fuck is that? Melee reach. All right, click on my icon.
Okay.
Teleportation movement type with melee reach does, in fact, if you're moving as a part of the melee reach, it does provoke attack of opportunity.
Ah. That one is, yeah. That one would
I'm
be
just
an
saying, you know, we
exception
have-
to the original rule. But in this
Yeah.
case, this is a different circumstance. Where your
Yeah, I was just more
quote
saying,
unquote
you know,
reach is 30 feet.
Yeah. I was just pointing out, you know, we do have a couple of things that are a bit wonky about it, but yeah, putting in a feat relating to that, you know, like spatial awareness or fucking whatever, you know.
Teledetect. No, teledetector.
You know, this gives me a spell
9,000.
idea too, unfortunately.
What, the kind where you teleport someone to force them to, well, no, force movement never provokes attack of opportunity anyway, but, you know.
No, anchor prevents teleportation.
We do already, technically speaking, have some things that can do that, but yeah.
Just random spell idea. I'll add it later.
Technically, if you paralyze someone and it turns off their special movement types, they can't teleport.
Yes.
So Geeman, the wording there is just reaffirming that this method of movement does not provoke an attack of opportunity. You just, without combat teleport, you just cannot use this primeval feature in combat. Period.
Yep, very specifically.
So it's not a matter of it not allowing it to not provoke attack of opportunity. The purpose of this is the first part. You are now able to utilize your teleport feature within combat. Ah, there we go. Telesense.
Telesense works.
Yeah, Telesense, the feat that lets you know if you're getting called by a telemarketer.
Look, it has like 4 purposes, okay?
You realize I am 100% going to put that in as well.
I mean, alright.
There's going to be a game where that is actually applicable, and it's going to be funny.
I think I speak for everyone when I go, oh, no.
Alright, so I'm going to say someone within your threat range. There. If someone within your threat range is going to teleport, you are aware and may AOO them before they teleport. It also lets you know if the person calling you is a telemarketer. That is going into the final document. We are going to have people scratching their heads over it, and I'm okay with that.
Alright.
No, I'm just expecting somebody to pick it up, and then every time that somebody calls their cell phone, is this a telemarketer, GM? AST, is this a telemarketer? Are you sure this isn't a telemarketer? Because I know I have the feed. Is that the only thing you're going to use this for? Yes.
I have Stormborn.
I have Stormborn.
Yep.
Alright, minions. Alright, we already went over that part. Already went over the enhanced minion stuff. Shared breeze. We did toss around some stuff about that, but I don't think we actually Cosmo, please don't disrupt the work here. Um... See, my ADHD is very difficult to keep keep working. Okay, Cosmo? I'm trying to focus, but you have disrupted it. What the hell was I talking about?
The shared breeze.
Right, the shared breeze. We touched on it, but did not actually confirm. By default, it is touch.
I think we all agreed on that, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
And I think we agreed there should be an upgrade feat that is made that will allow it to be ranged.
Is that really worth the 25 XP, though? Oh, wait, no, we were talking about making it a cheaper one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were saying like 15 or something.
Yeah,
I
one
think
of
it
the
was
feats that is not 25.
Yeah. We were talking about... That is not the document I want to search on. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Oh, never mind. There it is.
If it helps, depending on your build, your primary range can in fact be a good bit larger than your short range.
Oh, right.
For instance, Vane's short range is 35 feet, and his primary range is 50 feet.
And we have feet range, so...
Yeah, which is the primary range.
Yep. So 15 to just make it feet range or primary range or whatever verbiage we want to use here because it's the same dang thing.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the range band section. We did not put primary range in there. So I am noticing... Oh, right. Short range starts at 20, and then you get 5 feet for every 5 attributes.
Yep, and primary range is 10 times your primary skill.
I don't have that here. Why is that not here? We have aura range here.
If you look at your character sheet, it's in the bottom of the utilities page for feet limits. For your aura range, your primary range, and your feet limit.
Alright, well, we'll use primary range. That works. Primary range...
It is called primary range at the top of the feet section, by the way.
Okay.
Primary range this term is a range band that is equal to 10 feet per point in your primary scale. Some descriptions may designate it to be half of this amount or double. So you can also give it a longer range if you want.
Alright, so I just put in a note to move primary range from top of feet section to range band section, because that's where it should be with all the other range bands. Alright, so primary range upgrade, 15 XP. So it is, it does get higher than short range?
Depends on your build, but yeah.
Yeah, it's dependent on your primary scale, so it depends. If your primary scale is high, then it will be. If you're focusing on secondary skills, it won't be.
It won't be, yeah. So it depends on your build. But it's pretty possible to make it be as long or longer than short range. So
Yep.
If you want to make sure, you can make it double primary. Because, you know, it is utilizing a exhaustion and utilizing vigor and or will.
I think
But that's up to you.
I think for the 15 XP, we'll just have it be primary range. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Actually, let's make it aura range. Aura range
Is it an aura, though?
No, but that's just one of the range bands.
Well, aura range is fucking tiny. It's 5 feet per attribute skill.
You're right.
Because it's supposed to affect everyone in that range.
How about we just make this simple and go short range then?
Okay.
Short range, okay.
And make it 10 XP, because that's what short range is.
Yep. I mean, I feel like we should use the specific feet range, but if you don't want to, you know, whatever.
Okay, we'll stick to primary range. 15 XP.
I'm just saying, we have other ones.
We're gonna lick...
like...
I'm locking it in! I don't want to keep arguing about this!
If it helps, there's another cute V that showed up to replace the one that went to bed.
That is a very cute EV. Kursov's is precious. I am going to take the Ido and I'm going to snuggle him. That will help. Alright, so got that taken care of. Ugh. So the next thing we've got, I believe, would be your proposal era.
Alright, give me a moment here to pull it up. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to run the bathroom before I do this. And I will... This is just the initial concept before I actually go through and write things. But I'll get the copy and throw it into Dev really quick, too. And I'll come back and read it.
Okay. Very well, Geemond. We may cuddle the Ido together.
Where is Dev? Where is Dev? Scar Dev. There we go. I'll be right back. It'll take me like 2 seconds. Sorry.
Also, Zim. I'm not
Yes.
going to say which character this is for, but I do have a prospective word list that I'm gonna be using for a character. Totally not shade. When I get a chance.
That's it. I quit. We had a good 3 years.
I totally didn't make Shade pick up Regenerate. He hasn't done it yet.
Oh,
'cause we
well,
can't
that's
spend
fine.
XP, but oh no! But I also put a mass regenerate, tribute, retort attack with protection 6. You know, it's just gonna be harder to kill him now.
Technically, it's more just giving a mechanical definition to the stuff he's already been given by Kerr.
To be fair, I made sure that the rest of the shit that he does already was either, you know, rules legal, or I just was only doing it for gags.
Raijin! Okay, Geeman, you can have the Ido. I'm gonna snuggle the Raijin.
Yeah.
Or the four of us can just do a big snuggle pile. I like that idea better. Ido will be the bed.
Dang it, I was going to get the gimmick later, too.
But yeah, legitimately though, the Shade does have like rules legal like healing that he's been using. It's just that he invested a lot of his character into said healing. There's so much XP in that healing.
Alright. Link should be in DevTales. And I'm not surprised that you already got a word list, so do I, for Thales. And I'm sure Zim's got one for Asher already.
No, I have been too busy with other things.
Ah. And this is how I lose Jace forever.
There, I have made an important adjustment to the magic mechanics document.
Oh.
Why is that no signal now? Was that too idle too long?
Ah.
I guess so.
What did you do?
On the
Oh, you
magic
did the
mechanics
thing,
tab,
nice. Yeah, nice. You did the thing.
I did the thing. It was an important thing.
You know, the thing you learned in boating school.
Ah, yes, that.
As I pull the most random fucking deep cut.
Hold on, where is that?
I had to
There it is.
dredge that out of the fucking grave to reference it in this one moment.
I remembered adding this image to it, but I forgot the rest of what we put in there. For those that aren't aware, when Matteo and I were first trying to come up with the magic system, my ADHD was not letting me do anything at all. So instead, we just started memeing on the document. We added the, Gandalf vibing thing, and then put in, the thing I learned in boating school is...
Yeah, I think I was the one who looked at your important magic document that you were struggling in, and I put Gandalf in there for inspiration.
I think so.
I started your magic document.
The. But yeah, we hadn't addressed that for a good like year and a half, so I thought that that was done cooking, and I could reference it again.
There. Alright, anyways.
All
I'm leaving that in for everything. It's not going to the main dock, so that's fine. Alright, initial concept Marshall, Primeval Might. Here we go. Let's do this.
Alright, so I grabbed from the main dock, so I grabbed your powerless technique and discipline and just threw in really generic terms for what that is, because I didn't feel like we needed to go too far in, but powerless represents your innate martial ability. The technique reflects your precision and refinement you have developed through dedicated practice, and discipline is reflective of knowledge, understanding, and mastery of the martial practice. So, very simple. Where we get into the weeds of things is style, stances, and maneuvers. Starting with style, a style is defined martial discipline and analogous, thank you, to a school of magic for spellcasters. Each style represents a distinct approach to combat, whether focusing on classification of weapons, a method of unarmed fighting, or a particular philosophy of battle. Styles determine the maneuvers and stances available to you. Each maneuver is tied to a style, and there'll probably be more or multiple maneuvers per style that you can use. And you may only perform it when in a stance associated with that style, unless it is a universal maneuver, which can be used regardless of stance. In this way, your chosen style shapes the way or your fighting approach, guiding both how and when you act in combat. Now, some styles naturally complement one another, allowing maneuvers to flow seamlessly in combination. Others clash in philosophy method, making them difficult to merge. Mastery of combat comes not only from the understanding of your own styles, but the recognition of how they interact with others in the battlefield. TLDR, styles are going to be kind of your schools, vaguely.
I am good with that.
They're all right.
The
Stance, run.
The only thing that we've got an issue here is we need to come up with a different term other than maneuvers. I know it's the most appropriate, but we're already using maneuvers for, strike, dodge, and so on and so forth, so we need to have something else there.
We can come with that on the fly. I wanted to bring up key as well, so we'll touch on that in a moment.
Wait, keys up?
I was about to say,
No.
That's pretty good.
Not what I meant. I'll touch on that when I get there.
You're gonna touch key? Okay.
I mean, I like hugging the key. The key is adorable and fluffy. He gets the hugs. But yeah, style is going to be your
1 second.
primary.
I need to do art manager thing real quick.
key. Loitering.
Sorry, just making sure Whiskers has all the refs he needs. Which he does. Alright. Still gotta figure out what the heck to do for Tal and Viv's stuff, but...
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, right, and there is Tosha May with the $100 one. We're gonna have to
We are
figure
here to be
something out on
problematic.
this.
Would donate more. Cannot afford to anymore.
Well,
I'm a bit tapped out.
those are definitely not going to be commission maybe 80, but these are not going to be quite the equivalent exchange as that.
I want
So-
more Whiskers art. I just cannot afford more Whiskers art.
But anyways, I am ready to continue.
Yep. So we've gone over styles, the basic schools. Next would be stances. This is where we start to depart away from magic. There are no catalysts for this or any adjacent. Instead, we have stances. And in this case, a stance is a fundamental posture of combat defined by footwork, body alignment, weight distribution, etc. That's just fluff words. Each stance represents a distinct approach to battle, striking, defending, or moving with speed and precision, and determines what maneuvers you can perform. Many stances are tied to specific styles, reflecting the philosophy and practice of the discipline. Entering a stance requires a quick action. Once assumed, the stance remains active for a number of minutes equal to your prowess. While in a stance, you gain a minor bonus and unlock access to maneuvers associated with that stance's style. Stances do not cost key to enter or maintain. So mimicking actual martial arts nonsense.
I personally say that stances you can just be in a stance as long as you want. As for the bonus thing, I think on that maybe do a equivalent exchange kind of thing. Like, you're going into an offensive stance, so you get +1 accuracy but -1 evasion kind of thing.
Yep, as long as the core premise is good, I was going to work in those soon after.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep.
But otherwise, switching a stance would require a quick action.
Yeah, entering or state changing a stance requires a quick action. Make myself a note. I can work on that in a moment. All right, so maneuvers is the word we're going to change, but maneuvers are the specialized. These are the words. Basically. I don't think I'm going to go too much into the details, except there's, instead of burn and expend, there is expend and lockout, and those will be explained in a bit. Because I wanted to open it up, but I didn't want to open it up too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair.
The reason why I wanted to touch on key, specifically for the energy modifier, while I know it's common and everything, I've always been slightly bothered by its usage in tabletop RPGs and video games because I think it's misleading to what it actually is. It's not cultural appropriation. What's the other word? Misrepresentation. And I worry about that usage. We can keep it if you want, but it's a slight concern of mine.
I guess
I'm
the
just-
other question is, do we have another word that'll work, that people will understand?
Well, for myself, I'm not super thrilled about using key either, but that's more because it is something that is tied to a specific martial arts style and such, whereas we want to be more broad so people can embrace other things.
Stamina is very common.
I'd be okay with stamina.
Yeah, stamina would be fun.
I don't think we're using that for anything else, so
We're literally not at all. We don't have
Ah.
a stamina thing.
Okay, good. Sorry, it's always bothered me because key is so misrepresented all the time, and it's like, that's not what key really is, but okay, I guess.
to be fair,
How about the word Vim? VIM?
Oh, Vim.
Oh, Vim and Vigor and all that.
I like that. Because my first
Vim?
thought was Vigor, but, well, we're using that for an attribute. But yeah, Vim.
Here, let me double check its meaning. Energy or enthusiasm.
Yep.
Oh,
I fucking love that word, and it's asked for.
Yeah, it's generally accompanied with Vigor, which also works considering Vigor was going to be one of the stats for this, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yes.
magic is
So
based
limited-
on willpower. Might was based on vigor.
Yep, so Vim and Vigor.
Yep, and we know how this works, where magic flows from the mind and spirit, key, or I guess now Vim rises from the body. So it's going to work identically to most do.
That makes sense.
100%.
It works.
I felt no reason to change that whatsoever.
I mean, it works. It gives people resources to use. It's fine.
Yep. All right. Now we move into a new change. Instead of vessels, we're doing armament or focus because both are applicable. Warriors, martial masters, and fighters across the ages often form deep bonds with their tools of their craft. For some, it takes the shape of a favored weapon or an armament. For others, it may take beads, wraps, or other symbolic items, aka focus. Regardless of the form, these extensions of the self serve one purpose: to hold and manage ki. The idea is that instead of a vessel, you can use a weapon as a or in the same vein that you would use a vessel, And if you're not using a weapon, you're using fist or something else, you name a different object to be its stand-in.
I am okay with that. I know that we do not have, we can't really do just catalyst with this, but I do want to find an equivalent for them. Maybe,
My idea was stances.
oh yeah, I guess that would be, they got that instead. Fair enough.
I can just drop down to botches at the bottom really quickly to explain that, because where I decided to differ when it comes to botches is when an action is botched, the user suffers damage equal to the amount of keys spent, and this damage does not ignore integrity. Additionally, the user may lose their stance, having broken their flow.
Quick aside, what do we think about the word approach instead of maneuver? For what your approach to it is.
We could also use form, because that is technically a martial maneuver line.
We have primeval forms.
Yeah, we have primeval forms already.
Approach.
For how you're approaching it, either literally or figuratively.
I don't feel strongly about that one.
That's fair. I was just trying to think about anything that would work for now.
An alternative option
I had-
is we call them techniques and come up with a new name for that skill.
I had some others for the action. We could also use sequence, routine, action, form set. So if we use the word, no, we can't do that. So form set and form are out, but sequence,
Sequence is available.
sequence, routine, or
Action
options
isn't
as well.
available. But
Yeah.
so sequence, routine.
I could kind of see the skill technique, the technique skill being renamed to routine, and then calling the actual action, you know, the word equivalent being technique. Because when it comes down to it, technique is how it would, the skill there would be how many of them you can put together, and well, that would be a routine for what you know on how to put the, you know, flowing from one thing to the next. Thoughts there?
Looking at you, Tel.
Good night, Kenku.
Night, Kenku.
Good night. I think it would work. I was also just trying to think about if there were any other words that I could think of. But the only other one that I could really think of was exercise, but...
Well, we still have a while yet before this goes in, so we can think on it between now and then. For now, let's go ahead and change the technique skill to routine, and then change the maneuvers here to techniques.
Here,
Yeah.
before... You should probably just Control F everything that says technique, change to routine.
Yeah, I'll do that off cam. Because sometimes Control F does weird things, so I like to check it.
Yep.
But are we okay with that botch where you do get to your integrity, but you could lose your stance, or possibly just do lose your stance, period?
I would definitely say instead of including another roll, it's just you do lose your stance. Especially because it's just a quick action to reattain.
Yeah.
So the magic
That's-
botch does
that was-
ignore integrity?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're... That shit should be dangerous.
Yes.
The alternative thing I thought is you could also negate X amount of damage for whatever tier stance you're into.
That would probably work if we wanted to mirror but do some different things than Catalyst. Act as a temporary catalyst. Because the temporary catalyst will only provide protection up to their tier.
Still not ignoring integrity, though?
Yeah,
but
I'm
still
good
have
with...
it be affected by integrity. It's just, in case you fuck up a lot.
Does not... Let's see, I will have to figure it out. When an action is botched, the user suffers damage equal to the amount of keys spent minus... active... and integrity applies. Additionally, the user loses their stance. There we go. All right. If I need to reword that, I can do it later. All right. So we're almost done with this document. Next is expending key. Works exactly the same as magic for their expending cost. So no change there.
I think for the sake of it, I think burning it is fine.
Well, hear me out because I can't. Lockout is special.
Okay.
Completely different than burn. Locking out as an alternative works somewhat the same as burn. However, with the fact that we're kind of locking people into styles to a certain degree, this allows you to use something outside the style. And one of the things I was considering doing is breaking up the main styles into weapon groups, handheld, and stuff like that. So power could not be applied to, weapon users, for instance. But say somebody with a giant axe is on the battlefield and they really want to throw their axe like somebody throws a dagger and have it come back as one of the special maneuvers from the light dagger or the light weapon section. They can totally purchase it and use it once a day as a lockout. And they can totally lop their axe. So the idea is instead of burning out your motes, you lock out the maneuver period for the rest of the day.
I like that as a side effect, or as a side option. But I think a burning Vim option should... I think that should still be in there.
Yeah, I just worry about mirroring magic directly.
It still has enough uniqueness to it that it stands alone. But we do want it to have a lot of similarities. So it's got a lot of the same mechanics. Just like moves and weapons do. We don't want an entirely unique system, so we wanted to mirror, like, halfway, but...
Yeah. Your thoughts there, Tal?
So, I'm thinking about it. So, because the thing that I'm thinking about is that currently what Might is doing is it's taking the same sort of path as magic, but through a different approach. For instance, you never lose access to what words you know with magic, but you lose access to your capacity.
Mm-hmm.
However, with Might, you never lose access to your Vim, permanently for the day, but you lose access to the techniques that you're performing.
Yep, which was my goal.
Well, as I understood it, that's only if you are using a technique that you could not
no.
normally use in your current stance.
That's just one of the benefits. The other thing is it still has some of the burn effect. It'll still have a higher cost burn, quote unquote, but you lock it out instead of burning the Vim.
Which, if that's how it works, which it does say in the lockout a maneuver thing. It says, because of this limitation, locked out maneuvers techniques often provide a stronger effect or added benefit compared to their standard use.
Yes.
So, with how I'm looking at this, it has the same sort of style overall going. It's just approaching it from a different direction. Which I think is a good thing.
Maybe I should have just read what I wrote because it's very clear that way.
What do you think with that in mind, Zim?
I'm still feeling like it should have the burn, but we can continue with this and see how it goes. And see what playtesters think.
That's right.
Okay.
It also would help if I saw some of the actual options out there.
I wanted to make sure all this went through first. Especially since I expected verbiage and name changes halfway through.
My main concern here is just the idea of locking out an ability altogether. I'm not fond of that. It's one thing to lock out a resource that you could use for many other things. It's another to just be like, yeah, I want to do this stronger. Now I can't use this period the rest of the day.
Well, I understand your point. If we put it to burn, it's going to be the exact same thing as magic, except there's no catalysts. And I wanted to avoid that. So I wanted to put some level of difference. Anyways, you gotta give somebody that one anime moment where they get to mumble at their enemy, I can only do this once a day and I've chosen to use it on you. Ridiculous thing that I shouldn't be able to do here.
And we can also, like, probably include, like, maybe some feat upgrades where you're able to choose, as a part of a rest one, locked out maneuver and unlock it.
Or stance refreshes that might unlock it or something like that. Because that's also very common in the source material when you pointed at Path of War. Path of War has a lot of this becomes available again stuff in there, so...
Yeah, but I definitely think it's healthy design-wise that we focus on locking out the ability rather than the resource, as compared to Magic, where you lock out the resource but not the ability.
And I think this will be easier for players to understand that are newer to that kind of thing, so...
Alright. Like I said, we can proceed with it, and see how it goes.
I will get a list of things done in the next couple of weeks. I've already got a pseudo document I can lean on and other thoughts, so that's done.
Oh, like the primeval feature thing?
A while ago, I created a bunch of weapon special things and stuff that I'm just going to rip right from.
Yeah, I know you came up with what you wanted to be a primeval feature, but I was like, no, that should go into Might.
That's what you said. That's what I'm doing.
Yep. I know I put a ton of feedback in that, so...
Yep. I still got the document on the side. But now I can start converting, and I didn't want to do that until this is approved, because if I had to change 3 or 4 things, I was going to scream.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. One last thing that I've been toying with before we wrap up here, that I've been kind of toying with the idea of is adding in adding in kind of like a signature ability, but specifically for primeval features, where you get to, because at this point I believe most characters are going down a primeval feature. Before we implement this, I do want to put in some more options aside from the admittedly rather out there ones that we have. Like, the only two that are really good for just generalized characters are initiative and natural defense. So I do want to come up with some more along those lines. But I just kind of been toying with the idea of maybe having a signature feature. Basically the same as signature ability, but gives them a little discount on a primeval feature. Any thoughts on that?
Don't we have the specialty move thing already in play? Couldn't we just have that apply to a primeval feature as well instead of just a move?
Well, it already can be. Right now, signature ability can be applied to basically any one thing that you want. Could be a move, could be primeval feature, could be something else. But I kind of like the idea of separating it and having a specifically, this one is for primeval features, that one is for an actual ability, like a spell or such, or move or weapon, etc., etc.
I kind of do not like that if it's only going to be a discount, because it's already the case that there's a lot of discounting going on within the system, such that a lot of players are going to just straight up be missing discounts. The number of people that aren't even aware of signature moves, for example. And on top of that, personally, I think for something as dramatic and character defining is a little boring.
Instead of it just being signature, I mean, if we want to make more that are like good for generalized use, what we probably will want in that case is maybe instead of a signature thing, I believe it's currently a thing that you're not supposed to. Is it still a thing where you're not supposed to pick a primeval feature as one of your starting feats?
Yes.
We can give them a primeval feature at character creation, like they get to pick one.
I'd be okay with that.
But we need to have actual, more generalized ones that we'll need to come up with for that. But that way, it's not, this overarching growing thing that people need to keep making sure that they are keeping up with. Instead, it's a character creation part. And if you're missing things at character creation, that's very catchable.
There's also kind of, I do like Hal's idea, but there's also kind of a thing where once you start lobbing on so many discounts, you start reaching a point where it's like, some of this should just be baked into the costs in the first place. Some overhead is good, but there's a point of too much overhead.
Yeah, because one thing is that we are ever expanding the amount of things that you can spend XP on. So that does mean that if, people want to have everything, it's always going to get a lot more expensive. But it was also my understanding that we didn't want people to have the XP to buy everything.
No, we don't
So-
necessarily want that, but I'm looking at my characters and I'm seeing they're XP starved. I'm hearing from a lot of people they're XP starved.
I don't think discounts are going to be the way that you deal with that. Because introducing a discount here and a discount there will not fix that, if that's the issue you're trying to go at.
In my opinion, either EXP costs need to get adjusted at this point, or EXP awarded per session needs to be adjusted.
The easier option would honestly be just to up the XP awarded per session.
Probably. But especially with the...
people-
I want people to have the freedom to go into stuff that they want to. Not necessarily everything, but
the stuff that they want to.
yeah.
The other point is that since we have a modular system anyways, if we slap too many discounts on and somebody decides, well, we're not using primeval moves in this particular one, well, there goes that. And then, we're not going to use this primeval feature either. It's kind of, we got to be cognizant of that too.
That
We
reminds
do have that, actually.
Yeah, that was something that I proposed with the magic, and thank you for reminding me, because I added it to character creation, but go and click on my icon, you guys can jump to what I put in there. I upped it a bit because where we were originally was old, like what the original proposal was based on, you know, prior starting stuff.
Joke.
But the magic, might, and creation adjustments in character creation. And I wanted to run this by you guys and, you know, make sure that you guys are on board with this. So basically, I introduce the... which I should change that to routine. I introduced the new skills that are added with might and magic here. And if you have either might or magic, but not both, you would receive 2 free dots to put in any skill you would like that does not already have a dot. You also receive an additional 25 XP to spend. And then if you have both, then it is 3 free dots instead to put in any skill, and an additional bonus of, or 50 XP addition instead of the 25.
We did have the EXP amount changed, but we did have most of this penciled into the little whip sections.
Yeah, it was already in the original magic proposal, but I just upped the XP numbers because we upped the XP for character creation, period. So
yeah,
that's why.
Which does mean that in games where both of these have, instead they'll start with an extra 65 XP total, because 3 free dots each are 5 XP plus the 50 general XP. So
is that in addition to?
That is in addition to what
the
what you already start with. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
That's why I said an additional. You know.
Yep, I'm fine with that. That does mean that I get to pick up more then. Woo.
Yeah, which, because, you know, I know for PTV, I'm going to include all 3, so, you know, all that. Well, basically, one thing that we are going to have to do is basically go to all the different games and go, hey, do you want to stick with just moves? Do you want to include might or magic or both?
Yeah, we'll go to all of them. I know for Wild Traditions, they'll include both, because I know might is one that Octo wants. Magic is wanted by... Yes.
A lot of people want magic. I wonder why.
Because magic is fun bullshit.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I'm just hoping
Either
that
way.
might winds up being fun bullshit too.
That's
Yeah,
my
we have the
goal.
Furry.
The hand-to-hand combat, since it's not relying on a weapon, is going to have silly things.
I like silly things.
Kick him in the nards.
Okay, added. That's what I'm gonna name the stunning fist equivalent. Then got it.
I mean, there's a lot of options. Anger of Dad.
Nutcracker special.
Kalima, lowdown edition.
Lower uppercut.
Why are there so many fucking terms for kicking somebody in the balls?
Comedy routines, yes. That is what I'm going with.
Or you could go with the 8-bit theater reference of in inerts.
Personally, I want to go with just Rule 3 in reference to Troll Hunters.
Oh?
They have 3 rules, and one of them is, like, they've got a different term for it, but it's just kick them in the balls. And they shout out Rule 3 quite a bit throughout the series.
I miss 8-bit theater. I'm gonna have to go back and reread that all now. And
But
that
Rule
made
3
me
would
feel
be...
old.
I think Rule 3 would be too obscure, so we won't go with that.
Yeah, but I don't think people are going to get that one.
It's a popular series, but I don't think it's popular enough for that. But anyways, so yeah, those amounts. Until Might is available, for the record, in Wild Traditions, you're only going to get the Might or Magic one.
Yep.
That's fine with me because that saves me some skill points for Thales and gets me at least one more word.
Or upgrades a word a lot.
By the way.
There is... I will work on that later. I'm not going to open Thales' character sheet right now. I can do that tomorrow, I can do that tomorrow, I can do that tomorrow.
Alright, just wanted to put that in the group chat before I forgot. But anyways, I think that is it for our dev session today. Unless there's something else we want to bring up. I think I could use a break and go play a different game. Or go play a game, rather.
I guess the only thing is going through the yellows of the magic feats. Because we have the greens and the reds and the yellows. Well, orange, but you know.
Right. That.
Do we want to take a small stand-up break and then go through the oranges really quick?
I'd personally rather just get it done.
Right, let's go.
It's not like it's that...
Because Yeah, it's not that long. I'm starting to feel the burnout too, though. That's why I was like,
Yeah. So, extra modes. Gain an additional 3 modes. This can be taken multiple times. I still feel like it is... I don't know if that's worth the 25 XP cost.
I just want to point out that it is giving the effect of a mastered specialty for 25 XP while being repeatable.
Yeah, your first 3 dots and the first 3 skills to get the first 3 thing is 15, but afterwards it goes up, so it is a pretty okay average.
Well, the total cost for getting 3 dots is either 25 or 30, depending on if it was a starting skill or not. So even the cheaper dots, at least towards the magic capacity part, is cheaper than that. The I guess I'm fine with it, but I do just want to point out that it is a very strong effect because it raises the amount of motes that you have available, that you regenerate every single turn, that you can afford to burn. It raises the amount that you're able to cast without access to a vessel.
Okay. In that case, I'll withdraw my objection. Approved.
And we'll just turn it green then. I'll clean it up tomorrow. Veiled casting. I did update based on what Tell said. I did update to say appraisal instead of perception. But I did agree with what Tell said of changing it to appraisal because it wouldn't be a perception check; it'd be versus their appraisal. So
yeah, appraisal or phonetics, one of the two.
Yeah. I don't know if you're okay with that change or not, Zim, because it was after your approval.
I would say phonemics, not appraisal. Because phonemics is the skill for actually determining what they're doing.
Yep. It's just that I put and or because I can also see very valid uses for trying to use appraisal for it.
All right.
Yeah, but phonemics is your knowledge of magic, so...
Yeah, fair.
School specialization, like I said, we don't have enough words to make it worthwhile.
Okay, I did also put in the idea that we could just do a 5 XP discount period, but we can always hold off on that until later.
Yep. Also, this is probably one of the ones where we should look at it when we actually have most of it filled out.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll leave it highlighted that way. I think we can leave it in there, just leave it highlighted that way for it's, not available.
That's fine. Improved catalyst.
Or improvised catalyst.
Improvised. There was a lot of uncertainty. I just marked it red. It's the I got a jar of dirt joke, more or less.
I mean, I can see the use to it, but there's, not any scaling either.
Well, no scaling? I am struggling to see how,
Your catalyst takes your botches. So
Yeah,
if
so
your catalyst explodes in the middle of battle, pick up a stick. I've got a jar of dirt.
It basically, because magic is very deadly if you fuck it up in a spectacular way, and if your catalyst goes, you have no protection between your very squishy organs and the magic you're trying to channel. So this basically makes it so that way, if you botch again, otherwise, very useful for rain if rain goes into magic. If you botch again, the new catalyst will take that second botch. You can't do it again, though, but...
Yeah, it is. I need something to keep on going. There's a stick here. This'll do. Protect me, oh stick.
It's the fuck it, I need something. I can definitely see the point where it's like, you're not sure what the, if it's worth the cost or anything, but...
I don't know if it should have scaling if we allow it, period. The only thing that comes to my mind is we lock it at a tier 1 catalyst. Let me remind myself that catalyst actually.
A tier 1, the difference between a tier 1 catalyst and anything else isn't that much. It's just basically, if there's no word, it's how much abuse it can take.
Yeah, so it depends on the material.
So tier 1 would just protect from 1 damage in case of miscast.
Yep.
I think he was intending for it to be an instant attuned to a permanent tier 1 shitty catalyst with no word attached.
Yeah.
So it would protect from all damage in case of miscast?
Yeah, but it loses durability equal to damage prevented, and considering you're picking up a tier 1 object, that shit's gonna break the moment you know, miscast with it.
Okay, you're tossing 2 different things here. For this particular one, is it protecting from all damage in case of a botch?
Yes, once.
Okay. In that case, I can allow it, but it would be full action.
Full action to pick up a stick?
To attune to it.
Okay.
Well,
Are
it's not
you okay with
necessarily
that?
to
Like,
attune, but yeah.
Well, there is normally an attunement requirement for those kinds of catalysts, so there's like an emergency attunement fee.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, Tech or Tal?
Yep.
You need to spend a full round. Need to spend a full round action to attune to this catalyst. However, it only functions as a catalyst for the duration of the current scene. And there we go. And it is in there already that catalysts of this nature never have an imbued word and always count. Whoops. Why did it do that? And are always considered. Are always considered tier 1 despite. There we go. I can reword that later.
Yep. As long as you know what it means.
Yep. Next one, magic aura. The intent was plus 1 to like casting and concentration specifically. Unless we want to change it.
I'm not sure about the concentration part. I'm not really sure how to feel about this one. Because I know that this is also like an equivalency of the amplification / smite the wicked, like power increaser aura feat things.
Mm-hmm. Did we just
But
want to
it's also
say-
just
now?
applying to like all of magic in general.
I'm okay with it if it is the same effects as those two. So not everything, but all spells is fine.
So do we want to give it like +1 towards like, you know, trying to like apply effects onto someone? and all that, because there's beneficial and negative effects. So do we want this to focus on beneficial, negative, or both?
Let me double check the other two.
Well, because the other two is +1 power to all power checks of relevant category within aura range.
Considering magic isn't meant to be power, I would say, or just power, I would say, power checks, application checks.
Power and application checks.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing. I'm pretty okay with it.
All right, so +1 to all magic, power, and application checks for both spells and magical effects. Is that good wording, Tel?
Spells and magical effects. We don't really have any magical effects currently that aren't attached to spells, at least yet.
Yeah, so I'd say just remove that personally.
All right.
Yeah.
So +1 to all magic, power, and application checks for spells.
+1 dice. What is it supposed to be? Die.
All right. Die.
Die. Yeah.
Die.
The number of times.
If you leave it at
Google...
+1, it's technically +1 success.
Yeah. The number of times that Google Docs, literally every time I put in +1 die or something die, it keeps wanting to change it to do.
Weird.
Nice.
Do or die. I'm going to leave redirected strain as red. I don't see a reason to talk about it because there is an absolute.
Yeah, so absolutely not.
All right.
Well, if it's absolutely not, then let's just delete it.
Okay.
If there's no chance of us to even reworking it, let's just snap it.
All right. Let's look at arcane vision. As I wrote my thought, there was magical items or those using magic or give off an aura, kind of like detect magic. I would assume things like seamless and stuff like that might have a chance of being seen, but due to their nature, would be more of a perception check to notice it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it so long as we actually define what it can see. Because if we just leave it up in the air ambiently like this, it's going to vary between useless and sees every bit of magic no matter what, depending on how people interpret what that's supposed to do. So.
Do we have any specific things you want me to make sure to include in the specifications?
I'm gonna go through a list of questions and you tell me if they're supposed to see it with this feat.
Okay.
Enchanted objects.
Yes.
Are they able to see how what the permanence rating of that is? Like,
no.
If they're able to see how enchanted it is.
Nope.
No. Okay. So they do not get degrees. They just know it's enchanted. Are they able to see vessels?
Yes.
All right. Are they able to see catalyst?
Yes.
All right. Are they able to see the difference between an empty and a full vessel?
I'm not sure. That would be a discussion point.
Okay.
I would say probably because it makes sense, but
I would say to simplify this description, if it holds motes, which, you know, an enchanted item, the spell, it technically is holding motes. If it holds motes, they can see it. So an empty vessel, they would not be able to see that. If it is disguised somehow, then they can have -1 difficulty on seeing through the disguise, which would allow, you know, for things like illusions and such to still mask that.
Yeah. Here's a good question with that description then. Can you see people? Can you see spellcasters? Because they do naturally hold motes within them.
I would say yes.
All right. Just needed to check because, you know.
You don't get to see how many, it's just, oh, that person is actively holding motes.
Yeah. So you can see that that person has motes, but you don't know if they have, if they happen to pick up 1 point in sagacity due to some natural talent, but don't know shit, or if they are grand archmagus, if all you see is them.
So basically, if it currently has stored or in-use motes,
Stored or
has
active
more.
motes, yeah.
Stored or active. Thank you. It has an aura, -1 difficulty on disguised or masked. Things.tm.
Yeah.
TM.
We're going to also put in that you have to be able to actually see the object.
Of course,
Because
you can't X-ray someone to look in their pocket.
Exactly.
It must be in normal visual range or whatever.
You can't see the vessel in their backpack, but you can see them. Or if, you know, they're stealthing around or there's smoke around, you don't just, you know, you're not getting that fairy fire effect on them or anything.
Yeah. What is that called? Line of sight? Nah. Well, we'll just leave it like this. You must be able to see the object. All right. We good with that
Okay,
then?
so
ahead.
question to branch off of that. Say you have an enchanted item that you wrap up in cloth, so people technically cannot see it. Does the enchanted item still work as expected?
So that
Repeat the
depends on the
question?
item.
His item or his question was, say you have an enchanted item that you wrap up in cloth. It is no longer visible, therefore doesn't have an aura. Does the enchanted item still work? So somebody basically trying to wrap their magical +5 sword in a cloth to hide it from the arcane mage and then swinging at somebody anyways.
I think that depends on the item and storyteller
That's the
discretion.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a super sharp sword and you're swinging it, then sure, it could probably slice through the cloth, but, well, then it would be exposed.
Yeah.
I guess if you've got a hammer that's wrapped in cloth, well, that wouldn't slice through the cloth, so it would still be hidden, but...
Depends on the enchantment, though. If it lights on fire, you know.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. Nobody can see my fire magic hammer. Poof. I wrapped it in cloth, guys. But okay.
Just use some asbestos cloth or something.
Ew. Okay. I believe this is the last one. Residual flow, there was a change per you guys that said before the beginning of your turn. So before the start of your next turn was added, we're good with it then? I don't need to make other changes?
Yep.
Cool.
It was
That
just a
was
wording
the
thing
check.
on my part where it technically said it worked both ways, and I'm like, people are going to get confused as fuck.
Yeah, I had trouble wording that one, but this works. Before the start of your turn. Done. Feats are done.
Alrighty. Well, in that case, that'll be this dev session wrapped up.
We
Yay! We did a lot.
Yes, we did. I need a break.
How many hours did we
Also-
go for? Also?
I'm going to steal a Viv.
Okay.
Like 5 and 5, probably 5 hours including breaks.
Good
Yeah.
lord.
Bye.
Alright. So yeah, Thank you everybody for joining us so far on the stream today. That was DevTales, as well as an Art Marten stream. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We've got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. They're on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to help out the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, using our Humble Bundle partner link, picking up packs of cards to stream loots, or grabbing merch over at zgfgaming.store. But for now, thank you so much for joining, and I bid you all the most fondest adieu.
Bye-bye.